Welcome to the Temple of Flame.
On today, Faith Black Lights, we take a look at this. And what this is from Kettle brand. We've had a few of their other things on the series before. Limited edition chili crisp. Now, normally I would not be doing something that just said chili crisp. They also did a limited edition chamoy not too long ago. And I think there's probably some other ones. You can check out the Spicy Chips playlist. Snyder's, interesting. They have a tater tracker. That's a lot of interesting stuff on this bag. Okay, so the main reason I'm doing this is I just looked at the back and I said, okay, so what are the chilies? And there is habanero and natural flavors, which almost always means extract. So you can see the habaneros are independent of the red pepper sauce, which is honestly probably high end, like a Louisiana style can sauce if I had to guess. Okay, just annihilating this bag. That's good. Okay, let's have a look here. Let's get one of these out. You can see there's a degree of coating on these. Yep, seem like they're heavily coated though, which is usually the case. They actually just smell like salted kettle chips. I'm not getting any chili smell out of these at all. Well. We'll start with one of the doubled up ones and take a swing at it and see what we have. So I don't know what they mean by chili crisp. I assume it's like the sort of chili oil. Which are usually full of dried chilies. So you put the dried chilies, you put some oil. I'm not a fan of greasy stuff, so I don't like oily stuff. So I've certainly had chili crisp a number of times. In fact, I've made a version of it, a sort of a chili oil, in this very series. That was in the Fire Brownie video, if you want to check that out. So, flavor-wise, these are okay. They're fine. Nothing too special. They have greatly reduced the size of these bags, I've noticed. The delicious flavor of shrinkflation. Outstanding. Alright, well, I really can't get a feel for the flavor here. It's very nondescript. It's slightly sweet. It's somewhat salty. There's a slight chili undercurrent to it. Honestly, it's not very impressive. But we'll see if we can get any heat out of it. It's by no means a bad flavor. Starting to pick up a little bit of chili flavor now, finally. I think the coating here is just really uneven. We'll throw a few more in. I mean, they're fine. I'm really not a big snacky person like this. I don't get stuff like this. As I said before, unless I'm going to try to do content with it. I mean, this is fine as far as it goes. Not great, not bad. It's just very muted. I wonder if anybody uses the tater tracker. How much does the tater tracker affect your purchases? Prior to this video, I didn't know it existed. Did you know it existed? Now that you know it existed, do you care? I mean, it's kind of a neat thing. So I could see where it'd be of use in like schools. Because schools, back when I was going, I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been in a public school for decades. I don't want to date myself too much here, but it's decades. I am sure they don't do now what they did then. But back then, they would like to have little neat curiosity things to kind of pique the interest of the students. Say, here's this neat thing, here's this neat thing, here's this neat thing. And then they would tie it into whatever the subject was. And the area that I was in, agriculture was a huge thing. There wasn't really potatoes, but there was other stuff. And being able to kind of do stuff like this, track where the potatoes came from, how they got processed before they made it into the bag, would have been kind of an interesting thing because it touches on a lot of things at once. Agriculture and food processing and food production and logistics. I mean, there's quite a bit conceivably that would go into this. They could look at how the chips are dusted when they come down the assembly line, and so on and so forth. And you never know, because it touches so many things and the minds are developing, you never know what is going to click in someone's head. And you know, so you expose them to back then they would try to expose the students to as many different, sometimes related things as they could, as were available. And there wasn't a lot of them back then. There was no internet when I went to school. It didn't exist, at least not that anyone could use. In fact, the internet didn't exist at all until a few years after, in a public sense I say, until a few years after I graduated. And now you say, well, shit, there's a glut of information online, right? You can find videos on pretty much anything you might happen to be interested in. You can go down a rabbit hole and have it spoon-fed to you for hours. Which is true, but there is so much of it, I think it can be overwhelming. You know, for a lot of people, it's just everything all at once. And so I think it needs to be curated. You kind of need to have a guide, but to just kind of have those things, just all this sort of stuff that might be mundane that you just never think about, like snacks. One of the teachers brought in, there was a snack processing plant not super far. It was probably 2-3 hours away from where I was at the time. And somebody brought in a bag. So back then you would buy chips, for instance, came in these, have you ever seen like the sort of filmy white plastic they put the cereal in? That's how chips used to come. There'd be 2 bags of them and they would come in a box. Like a literal cardboard box. Like Snyder's a Hanover, a box like that but bigger. So they would come in a box and the bags would be inside the box. Well, this guy brought in chips that were completely full. Like there was a bunch of ants or something in there that were processed along with the chips. And you'd see stuff like that. Like that wasn't super uncommon. You'd find weird stuff all the time. I don't know that that's the case any longer. I suppose they have, machines and AI that sort of scans for that type of stuff, or at least you would hope. But I mean, it still could happen. Yeah, you could get something that's infested with whatever, and it might not get picked out, and it might just get processed, and there you go. Definitely touch on a lot of different subjects here, don't we? Didn't know going into this for the Kettle chips, a brand new flavor that they just barely came out with, to my knowledge, that we were going to be talking about a comparison of the education systems of decades ago and versus the open sewer pipe of the internet today. Yeah, think of it back then. I guess it'd be more of maybe like a syringe compared to, like I said, just an open gigantic drainage pipe of what's available now. But okay, so as to these, I'll give them a default one for heat. There is some heat there, not anywhere near what I had hoped for. And honestly, my initial impression with these when I saw them was like, why? The same thing with the chamois. I looked at the chamois and I went, eh. I mean, it's probably going to be disappointing, but there wasn't anything in there. So with snacks, I'm really trying to the extent I can, I'm trying to go habanero or hotter. And I also, unless there's some, huge emphatic descriptor on there like blazing or scorching, something along those lines, then I can't stop myself from trying to see if it's all true or if it's marketing. 90+% of the time it's marketing. This one they're just saying chili crisp, which is literally meaningless. But I saw habanero on the ingredient and I thought, well, maybe, right? Maybe. There is a natural flavor too, which often means extract. I thought maybe maybe. Certainly Kettle Brands has played with habaneros before. I've done some of those offerings as well. As for this, the flavor it's very vaguely chili. It's more salty than anything else, actually, but it's sort of vaguely chili. There's a slight undercurrent of like a sugar and very, very little garlic in there. Flavor is fine. Like I said, I'm not upset with the flavor. Flavor it's decent. It's not anything that I think is too mind-blowing one way or the other. It's not setting my taste buds a Twitter or anything like that. You know, there's no little pinpricks or anything like that. It's fine. It's for what it is. I mean, this points up one of the challenges actually when you have this, where something is just very middle of the road okay. And I mean, that's really where this lies. It just sort of defies, you know, the things that are very substantially one direction or the other, like either really good or really not good. Like those are a lot easier, you know, because then you can riff on them and all the other stuff. Where it's just kind of pedestrian, you know, sort of. I guess you could get it if you want to try every single Kettle flavor that ever existed. I mean, I don't think if you like chili crisp that this is a very good representation of that condiment. It's muted, I think is the word I really want to use here. It is very diminished flavor wise, and I mean it's not bad though. You know, like half of this, I've eaten half of this bag just in the bit you saw there. Half of this is gone. I will definitely finish the rest. One of the things that I did with some of the old past videos is sometimes I would have something to make content for it, but it wouldn't be good, so I just have to bin the rest of it. I try really hard to avoid that because food waste in particular kind of gets at me a little bit. So I don't ever want to do that if I can avoid it, but this one, well, I won't have that problem. This one's fine. We'll chew through the rest of it the next time I get into the bag, and that'll be that. But so my impression was that really we're having a lot. 2025 seems like we're moving away from the super hots, and 2025 moving away from chili foods in general, I think. And 2025 seems to me more than anything to be what is there really seems like more of a year of the habanero, and but it's not really a focus here. But it does show up specifically as habanero, so it really would be interesting to. I just wonder what the design here is with this. Yeah, I mean they're just. Honestly, they could just call it chili and not chili crisp because it doesn't really have that sort of chili crisp aspect to it. It is just call it vaguely chili, and I think that's about it. So I really don't understand what they were meaning to go for here. I mean, I can read what it says they were trying to go for here, but flavor-wise, it is not even remotely in the realm of that. So anyway, decent enough snack. Heat is very, very minimal and you have to actually have quite a few of them at once to even get it. They definitely did not do a good job coating these. So I guess pretty uneven, I guess, is where I'll leave this one. Flavor, like I said, is fine, but I've had better, you've had better. There's better out there. Definitely hotter as well. So just kind of middle of the road, middling entry, I guess, into things. And we will leave it right there. So that was the Kettle Chili Crisp Potato Chips.
Now go forward in peace to serve the flame.